Alright, hi everyone. So this is another 7 on Sunday, a Goodreads group created by G. Swizzle's Books, and this topic this Sunday is favorite standalones. So the first book I'm going to pick, and again, just like last time, this isn't really in any specific order because I don't know, I just don't really rank these books in order. I just love them as standalone books. But the first one is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. Saw the movie first. This was also in my 5 perfect books tag. But I just love the opening line to this book. I loved the prose. I thought, the concept was interesting. And it was just beautifully written, sorrowful and meaningful. And it's got a pretty cover too. I know covers aren't really supposed to be that big of a deal. And it's a simple cover, but I like that blue. I think there might be another color on some of them, but I like that blue. It was simple, and it just had an impactful story in it. Love the characters. Just, yeah. Loved it. So number 6 is Battle Royale. Battle Royale is a very thick book. Well, I mean, there are books that are thicker, but it's at least a good 500 or so page book that is so worth the read. And if you've watched my channel, you know that I am a major Hunger Games fan. I basically read this because everyone compared the Hunger Games to Battle Royale. Battle Royale did come out years before the Hunger Games. But it's not just because I'm such a big HG fan. It's because when people compare it, they often bring up, well, Battle Royale is so much more violent and this and that. And I think that does a disservice to Battle Royale itself because it's so much more than just violence and gore or whatever. There's so many characters that have backstories, and you get to know more about these characters. You get to care about these characters. You realize what they're going through and what they have to face. The loss of life, friends, just so much. There's just so much more going on than just the violence. It's well worth the read. Oh, I had forgotten to mention the author's name, and I believe it is pronounced Kushan Takami, but I could be wrong. But I just wanted to mention the author because I ended up re-recording that part and I forgot that I left it out. Number 5 is The Fault in Our Stars. So normally when I don't know much about a book or I haven't read any part of it, I will find it at a thrift store or Goodwill, whatever, and so I don't have to spend that much money on it unless it's like an author I've read before. But before this I had not read anything by John Green, and now I've read all his books up to the newest one, which is only like 4 or 5. But The Fault in Our Stars does have some unbelievable moments, but it also has beautiful quotes and metaphors and stuff. And I liked that not everything wrapped up as a happily ever after ending. That, it did talk about death and, how things just don't magically get better. Like, they didn't stop having cancer because they fell in love or whatever. They still went through a whole lot, and they still had, the thought that any day could turn into their last. They may not experience everything that everybody else gets to. There was a lot of sadness and truth, and I really like that. Yeah, people don't like the cigarette metaphor or whatever, but I like the fact that it kept things real. And there are people that are going through this, and it didn't shy away from that fact. Didn't shy away from the fact that young people get sick, that people die, that, things don't get better just because you want them to. But there is also good in life to experience, and that, you don't have to let things take away all of that. I think one of my favorite ones was when they talk about infinity, like some infinities are bigger than other infinities, or I'm grateful for a little infinity. But yeah, beautiful quotes. I know it's YA contemporary, but give it a chance. So, number 4 is Because of Winn, Dixie by Kate DiCamillo. This book was thoughtful, at times sorrowful, and even funny at times. It had issues of brokenness in family and people just being human, abandonment, and realizing that things aren't perfect and they don't have to be. And there is people and friends all around you, and not just what is supposed to be, but, people that come into your life. Number 3, I'm going to have to go with Coraline by Neil Gaiman. So far, no, not the only one I've read by him. I also read Ode and the Frost Giants, but the first, novel, even short one that I've read by him, I did actually get to read this before I seen the movie. Not way before, but anyways, this one is just super fun, super creepy, strong-willed protagonist, interesting story, just eerie enough to be kind of creepy, but not too scary because it is a kid's book. It is adventurous. It's just fantastic, and so are the pictures. But, yeah, pictures creepy. But the story is really, really good. I highly recommend it if you want something to read that's kind of spooky-ish, but not too scary. Number 2 is The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. Hopefully I am saying that right. So, I read this just a year ago. It's a very small book, and it's told in vignettes, which isn't something I read a lot. I've read books that are in prose and stuff, but this was the first time I read something that was told in vignettes, and I thought that was a really interesting way to tell a story. And it's very different because those type of stories don't have a direct beginning, middle, and end. And I just thought that it flowed well, that the character story was interesting. It's basically about her life as a Mexican American, and just the things every day going on in her family and her thoughts and everything. And I just thought it was really well put together, and it just didn't drag. It was, like I said, it was always interesting, and it's told from first person point of view, and I just thought it was a really good book for something so small. I really like when books are small but impactful, because they usually have so much more to say. Then finally, number one is Challenger Deep by Neil Shusterman. So there was a lot of books that could have went on this list, but I tried to keep books that I talked about a lot and other things off, even though I have a couple on here that are from other lists. But anyways, this is a book that deals with mental health and, dealing with mental illness and how people are treated at times with it and the reality of it. And it goes back and forth between reality and the thoughts of a character who is experiencing mental illness. I believe it actually is inspired by the author's son. So it's both contemporary and fantasy in a way. I don't know if fantasy is the right word, but we are basically taken into the thoughts and taken into like another world kind of thing. You would have to read it to kind of understand, but it goes back and forth, and I thought it was well written. I had read the first Unwind book by the author, and I really liked that. And then I saw and heard about this other book, and so I decided to read it, and it was really good, and I'm definitely going to read more by this author. But his writing is interesting, and the story was interesting and meaningful. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.